Now, when we think about children learning, obviously an image of the brain usually comes to mind, doesn't it? Now, this morning we talked to our creative parenting expert, Nikki Bush, about how issues of the heart, feelings and emotions are inextricably linked to a child's ability to learn easily. You're throwing me some big words here, Nikki. Good morning. Welcome to Expresso.
Thanks, Ewan.
This is an interesting topic, and I like this. So see if you can paint this picture for us. What exactly, or what does a child look like when they are in the state of learning, when they are able to learn? Is there an image like that?
Yes. So I want parents to think about, when you see an EEG taking place on TV and you see these beautiful, lovely waveforms,
Yes.
okay, so, or a brain scan when you see these beautiful, even, fluid waveforms. That would be when a child is kind of like really relaxed and calm, and that information can flow in very easily. But the minute you put a child under stress, so this could be some anxiety, and I've watched one of these brain scans when a child is having an anxiety meltdown, going from beautiful calm to like a bird's nest, where these waveforms are just all jumbled and knotted up. And then you get a real understanding of how difficult it becomes for new information to come into the system when those waveforms are all jumbled up, because there's a panic, there's some kind of stress on the system, knocking those brainwave frequency ratios right out.
So what are some of the things that can affect a child's ability to learn, that will really mess those brain waves or those signals up entirely?
So that's why we're talking affairs of the heart and feelings this morning, because any kind of anxiety, so we're talking crime, trauma, we're talking death, divorce, maybe somebody's job in the family is under threat, maybe there's financial pressure. These are all things that impact on the feelings and emotions, the emotional temperature of the home. And this can throw your child's brainwave frequency ratios right out. Maybe it's a year when your child is growing very fast, and sometimes when they grow very fast, they get sick often. That would also influence their ability to learn. So there's many, many different things that can impact on how easily a child can absorb new information.
Okay, and honing in on the parents, is there certain things that parents should be wary of doing so as to, not hinder that process or that kind of state of learning for the child?
Yes, so I think that there are a couple of things that we need to do and take responsibility for. Very often we put our baggage on our children instead of taking responsibility for what's going on in our lives, in our emotional lives, and sorting it out. So if stuff's going on in your relationship, resolve your relationship. Children are unbelievably perceptive. Even if you don't tell them what's going on, they know there's an issue. And they, in some way, shape or form, try to heal and fix whatever that situation is. So take responsibility for your stuff. Get it resolved as best you can. Things like money. This is a biggie at the moment.
I think it's a big one for a lot of people.
Big one. Parents tell me that money is a big thing, and they often find themselves speaking about money in front of their children. Like your child comes home with a report card and you go, for what I'm paying for your education, you should be doing better than this. Actually, it was your choice to put them in that school, and whatever you're paying was your choice. It was never their choice. And so we kind of tend to lay this stuff on them when it's not actually their problem.
So how can parents then go about really just opening those doors and make sure that their children are relaxed and in that state of learning? How can we facilitate that?
So there's some real basics here. Food and water. Make sure your kids get enough food and drink enough water, because that helps the brain to stay in a healthy state. Enough sleep. And funnily enough, when children are surrounded by a lot of emotional issues, they tend to sleep less. So sort out your emotional baggage. Don't put stuff on children that you shouldn't. Make sure they're getting enough sleep, enough nutrients. Make sure they're getting enough exercise. Exercise lifts those energy levels, the oxygen and the happiness hormones, the endorphins. And so movement and play. Play is a language that absolutely speaks to children. And because of our busyness, we are playing less. And children can play their sillies out. Their sillies. Okay, so what's irritating them, what's making them frustrated, they can play it out and get it out of their system in a different way to, say, speaking it out.
Exactly, let's say in a positive way, getting out in a positive way. Nikki,
Exactly.
thank you very much. We're going to continue talking about matters of the heart here when it comes to learning and your children.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Right, we are back with our creative parenting expert, Nikki Bush, on your Feel Good Breakfast Show this morning. And earlier on, we spoke about how parents can affect their children's receptiveness to learning by focusing on matters of the heart. We're continuing that conversation right now, Nikki. And this is a very nice conversation. Instead of, trying to set those rules and boundaries when it comes to learning and schoolwork, you're approaching it from a different, softer side, which is so important. So just to recap quickly, how does a child's emotional state really kind of affect their learning ability?
So Ewan, really, when children feel safe and secure, when they feel emotionally and physically safe and secure, that's the bottom line at the end of the day. Then they're very open and receptive to learning because there's nothing that's taking up their emotional energy or their ability to concentrate because they feel okay. They feel I'm safe, I'm secure. So giving children boundaries is one thing, but making sure that we control the emotional temperature in our homes is the other thing. Because what we do, what we say, and all those things that are going on around our children, death, divorce, trauma, financial stuff, all impact on their anxiety levels and their ability to learn.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you a big question. Is there any proof that love and security can open the doors to learning? I want to know.
Absolutely. So when we had that Rwandan refugee crisis many years ago, they did brain scans of the brains of these little children who were left to languish in orphanages with very little love, care and attention. So they were lucky to be changed, to have their nappy changed once a day. They were lucky to be fed once a day, and they were very rarely held in people's arms and rocked and sung to and spoken to.
Yeah.
And what was really interesting was that the size of those little ones' brains was 20 to 30% smaller than the size of your children and mine.
Wow.
And that just goes to show how physical touch, stimulation, love in a voice, cuddling, all those things actually really do count when it comes to brain growth and brain development and overall ability to learn.
That is incredible. That is incredible. So, okay, so let's bring it into your own home environment. You as mom and dad, how can you facilitate that process, that children can be in that optimal learning zone?
Good routine, very, very important. That's predictability, safety and security. What happens now, what happens next, what happens after that. Make sure your children are well fed and nourished, have enough water, enough sleep, that they move enough, and that they play enough. Because play is just the language of childhood, enables children and families to de-stress, get rid of all the angst and the anxiety. So those are just some basics, but most important of all is that parents need to take responsibility for their emotional baggage. It's too easy to let it overflow onto our children and then cause this irritation, anxiety that then stands in the way of your children's ability to learn.
So don't bring work home.
Preferably.
Just like, Nikki, thank you very, very much. I love this very interesting topic as well. Let us know what you think on our social media pages as to how you go about just getting your kids in that optimal learning zone and what are those secrets that you maybe can share.